se îndreaptă acum către petișor, lovița.
Combat sports is often divided by gender for differences in strength, size, and pure biology. But what happens when those lines blur? Is this new wave of intergender fighting proving a point? Or is it reinforcing the obvious? Here are some insane men versus women fights that answer those questions.
Did you like that? Yeah!
We'll kick things off with the biggest intergender fight of 2024 between Craig Jones and Gabby Garcia, which kick-started with a shocking pre-fight kiss. Garcia was left simmering with rage, ready to erupt like a volcano, but she failed to teach Jones a lesson as the Aussie grappling wizard easily sliced through her defenses.
Gabby Garcia. Oh my god.
Oh,
Right over the middle. He's telling her that you have to be willing to actually hurt me here.
Before sinking a rear naked.
In recent years, the world of combat sports has seen a surprising and controversial trend: intergender fights, where men and women step into the same ring to test their fighting skills. What was once seen as a novelty or fantasy concept has now turned into viral, highly debated spectacles that capture millions of views across the internet. But what happens when the men in these matchups decide not to hold back? What happens when they fight back just as hard? In today's breakdown, we're diving into the most insane intergender fights ever caught on camera, raw, brutal, and often uncomfortable to watch. These aren't your average sparring sessions or playful exchanges. These are real, sanctioned fights or viral underground matchups where both fighters, regardless of gender, come in to win. The phenomenon exploded in popularity with the rise of viral social media clips from Russia, Poland, and even backyard fight scenes in the US and Brazil. Events like Punch Club and MMVIP have pushed boundaries by organizing
O mașinărie, priviți cum se uită la cele două fete, efectiv.
Mechie's punches ultimately proved too powerful for the brave women, leading to a TKO loss.
Învinge perfect în acest meci.
Our next intergender showdown took place at RF Jan Camp in Kuwait, where a female U.S. Marine went toe-to-toe with her male counterpart in a high-level scramble. Both fighters had their moments, flipping the script back and forth like a wild roller coaster ride. But the male Marine was always one step ahead. As he snatched her arm like a hawk, swooping down on its prey, locking in an armbar that turned her limb into jelly. Now, we're all for equality, but let's face it, most male versus female fights in the way you'd expect. Former UFC fighter Ramona Pasquio learned this the hard way against Korean MMA local Tae Woon.
I don't think I do need an advantage because, I'm here as a competitor like everyone else, and I don't need special treatment or any advantage. And if I lose, then I'd like to fairly lose.
Being the polite boy he is, Woon held back like he was play fighting with his little sister at a family barbecue.
30 seconds.
But come around two, he tossed manners out the window and unloaded bombs that snapped Pascual's head back like a Pez dispenser.
often with dramatically different weight classes, experience levels, or skill sets. Promoters claim these matches challenge stereotypes and test the limits of human equality. But critics argue they are pure exploitation, more spectacle than sport. One of the most talked about examples comes from Russia, where intergender matchups have become somewhat of a niche attraction. In one infamous bout, a female bodybuilder stepped into the cage against a much smaller male opponent. She charged aggressively, using her size and strength, assuming it would be a quick finish. But the moment the male fighter decided to strike back with technique and speed, the energy in the cage shifted completely. What followed was a mix of shock and awe, as the crowd watched a man land precise punches and low kicks, dropping his larger opponent with brutal efficiency. The internet exploded with debates. Was it fair? Was it right? Or was it just painful to watch?
It only took a few clean digs to her midsection to deflate her aggression, leaving the referee no choice but to step in. The 400-plus-pound Grigory is a bit of a chick magnet inside the cage, as he constantly attracts women much smaller than him to fight him. One of his victims was Alexandra, who fought like a warrior, tagging the giant with kicks and punches before running for her life.
Oj, oj, oj! 200 kilogramów proti 50 kilogramów.
Only for him to grab her like a bear catching a squirrel in clinch.
Да, Гриша махает одной рукой.
Alexandra kept trying to break free, landing shots here and there, but every time she moved, Grigory scooped her up and held her close like a clingy ex.
Время работает, никак дело не ступает. Левая рука пошел в атаку.
The big man's bear hugs lasted the entire fight, and ultimately, he took the win by decision. Unlike the polite guys who treated their opponents with utmost respect, Samchai Jaidi wasn't giving out free hugs when facing Lucio Rieker. The Thai powerhouse came out firing off mean punches, sending Riker off balance, like a toddler trying to take its first few steps.
Another shocking fight took place in Poland, where a female fighter with MMA experience was pitted against an amateur male brawler. The match started competitively, with both showing respect and holding back slightly. But once the male fighter realized she was throwing full power strikes, he responded with a flurry of punches that quickly turned the tide. She was overwhelmed by the power, and the referee had to step in. Again, outrage followed. Some praised the courage of the woman for stepping up. Others condemned promoters for allowing such an unbalanced and ethically questionable matchup to happen. Then there are the unsanctioned backyard fights, raw, unfiltered, and often crossing moral lines. In one brutal video, a confident female striker taunted her male opponent in a backyard ring surrounded by cheering fans. She landed a clean kick and a few hard punches, provoking the man into switching gears. The result? A devastating combination.
By critics of being a transgender woman competing in women's sports, even though documents made it crystal clear she's a biological woman. Her critics, however, weren't ready to let her off the hook, especially after her 2024 Olympics win. But the 2024 Olympics weren't the first time Imani's gender was questioned. The controversy started in the 2022 Golden Belt Series Finals, where she faced Brianda Cruz.
Para que se entere de lo mejor del acontecer deportivo. Segundo round es prácticamente.
Imani obliterated Cruz from pillar to post with a display of power and skill like comparing night to day.
Necesitamos un chambelán de peso en esa mano derecha.
Exactamente, cuando viene con el que se está llevando la contienda. Ahora en las repeticiones, golpe de impacto.
By the end of the fight, Brianda's face was a bruised canvas of frustration as she lost in a fight that was as one-sided as they come. Brittany Vaughn is another trans woman who stepped into the fighting scene, but unlike some of her peers, she didn't go for the usual matchup with women. Instead, she went after men like Jacob Ray.
Oh, big left hand, now big right hand from Ray as he moves in.
But Ray landed a brutal right hand during one of those wild exchanges.
And Vaughn is out.
Sending Brittany spinning like a top before she crashed to the canvas, dizzy and done. So, these were the times women tried their luck against men, and it obviously didn't work out. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.